Hello, my name is Benjamin Timothy Gobey, and for my project, the BTG Interviews, today I'm interviewing Colin Baker.
Hello.
Hello.
Benjamin, how are you?
Good, thank you, Colin.
Good.
Where were you born, where did you grow up, and when did you start acting?
I was born on Waterloo Bridge in London, not far from the National Theatre, how interesting, during an air raid in 1943, and the hospital on the south end of Waterloo Bridge had a maternity ward on the top floor. So if a bomb had hit it, that would have been the end of me, but it didn't, mercifully. So I was born in London, and at the end of the war, my parents moved up to Rochdale in Lancashire. The second part of your question was?
Where did you grow up?
Grew up in Rochdale, in Lancashire, and then in Manchester after that.
Yep.
Where when I was 18, my father said, "What do you want to do?" And I said, "I'd like to go to university. I'd like to study modern languages. And while I'm there, I'd like to join OUDS, or I thought I'd go to Oxford, or the Footlights, because I thought I'd also go to Cambridge." I had high ambitions. Because I'd like to be an actor, because I'd done a bit of acting at school and liked it. And he said to me, "You start in the solicitor's office on Monday." So back in the late 50s, early 60s, when young men did as they were told by their fathers, I started in the solicitor's office on Monday, where I did 5 years, articles to be a solicitor, and took the qualifying exams. And all the time I was joining amateur drama groups, and there were a lot in the Northwest, and playing some really nice parts. And then when my father had a heart attack and a stroke at the age of 49, and I was just about 22, something like that, it made me think, I don't want to do this, and I didn't want to do it. So I jettisoned the law and auditioned for drama schools. And I got into a few of them, but Lambda was the one I chose to go to, where I did 3 years. And in 1969 was sent forth to become an actor, which I did.
Okay. What was your best and most challenging roles, or what have been your best?
It's always hard to... I'm not very good at putting things in best, second best, third best. But roles that I particularly enjoyed, I played Captain Terry Dennis in Privates on Parade on the stage, which meant that I got to play Marlene Dietrich, Carmen Miranda, and a succession of other ladies entertaining the troops in the East in 1950s. And it was a very good play by Peter Nichols. It was a great part.
In a sleazy cabaret, where the clients were so pally, once I sang the night away. That's become so Karl Marx alle Dankeschön, Comrades Dankeschön. Once I sat across a chair, drinking schnapps in dirty glasses. Now is Friedrich Engels Square, strictly for the working classes. Dankeschön for nothing, comrades, Dankeschön. I can't run in heels like this, so come on, boys, one last kiss. A Dankeschön, oh nicht, Kameraden, Dankeschön. Ich liebe dich, auf Wiedersehen.
I also enjoy playing Inspector Morse on stage, and it's a TV series that was very successful, and they did a stage version of it, and I played that. And I also played a part on television in the 70s in a series called The Brothers, which was the hit series of the 70s on the BBC. And I played a ruthless banker who treated everybody like, well, he didn't treat them badly, but he won everything. He took over a company and didn't care about the people. The original yuppie I was. And I was voted the most hated man in Britain in 1975. And then 10 years later, arguably, when I was playing Doctor Who, I was perhaps the most loved man in Britain for a short while, because the Doctor is loved. And of course the Doctor is the other part that I have played that I've thoroughly enjoyed.
I don't go much for charter work, it's mainly scheduled traffic.
So I gather.
A few nice plums here. Regular runs, Tuesdays and Thursdays to Brussels, Amsterdam.
They're removing cattle and all. 40 head for Nice. Well, that were a charter.
Well, in those DC-3s, must have been a nightmare.
No wonder that pilot hits the bottle. Fair Fred. Miss who? Maxwell? No, but can I take a message? I see. Well, at the moment, I'm afraid operations have been suspended, but can I call you back on that? Thank you. Well, we seem to have everything here, but the balance sheets for the last 2 years. Have you, either of you seen them around anywhere?
Could be in this filing cabinet, one of these keys see to fit.
Now, you're useful with your hands, Bill. Can you get it open?
Well, break it open, you mean?
Oh, if you have to.
Sorry. I'm not sure I like what we're doing any road. I'm certainly not going in for burgling.
What do you mean, burgling? I've spoken to the general manager of this company and told him what we're doing.
Then why isn't he here to supervise it?
He's too busy looking after his own skin, that's why. Listen, if the receivers move in, they're going to tear the place apart anyway.
We came down here to look at a couple of warehouses. The next thing I know, you're telling that pilot out there we've come to rescue the company.
Well, he said it, not me.
You gave him that impression. You've been kidding him on we were saving his job.
And so we may be.
Are you trying to tell me that buying up a couple of warehouses is going to put enough money into this firm to keep it going?
Of course not. Far too heavily in debt for that.
Then what exactly are you proposing, Paul?
I think we take them over.
What? Operate them, you mean?
Why not?
We've not had enough experience in that field.
We can learn.
You didn't say anything about this at the board meeting this morning.
I wanted to see if the corpse was worth reviving first. I think it might be.
Is there any role or character you would like to portray in the future and why?
Yes, there are plenty of roles I'd like to play in the future, but they're all ones that haven't been written yet. And even though I'm now in my mid-70s, I still nurture the hope that somebody will write something which fits me like a glove, and I am the first person to play whoever that character is. And just like John Thorpe played Morse, and one of those characters that endures. We all hope for a part like that.
Definitely. Are there any particular actors, writers or directors you have enjoyed working with the most in your career?
Lots. Lots and lots and lots. I suppose going back to the very beginning, Anthony Hopkins, or Sir Anthony Hopkins as he now is, I was in the 1970 version of War and Peace, in which he played Pierre and I was Anatole, and we became friendly, and he of course is now one of the greatest actors of our age. And working with him was superb, because some people are just real, and he's one of those. He was real, but he didn't carry the character with him. Off stage, he was Anthony Hopkins. Helen Mirren, I worked with around that time in the early 70s. She was a wonderful actor to work with. An actor that I met in The Brothers, who I'd seen playing Richard II years before, and his name was Brian. No, he played Brian. And he's, what was his name? How awful. When you get older, you forget the names of your dear friends. Richard Easton. Richard Easton played Brian in The Brothers.
Yeah.
And he was a wonderful actor. And one of his performances as Richard III, made me want to be an actor. And I got to work with him for 3 years in The Brothers, so that was good. I'm going to miss somebody out who was stupendous. I did work with Sir John Gielgud at Chichester in 1971. And that was wonderful to be on stage with a band like that every night and watch it work. I've been very lucky. I've encountered a lot of really skillful, clever actors. All of them are, really.
All my travellings throughout the universe, I have battled against evil, against power-mad conspirators. I should have stayed here. The oldest civilization. Decadent, degenerate, and rotten to the core. Power-mad conspirators, Daleks, Sontarans, Cybermen. They're still in the nursery compared to us. 10 million years of absolute power. That's what it takes to be really corrupt.
Take it easy, Doc.
Doctor, these unseemly outbursts...
Unseemly outbursts? If I hadn't visited Ravelox as I then thought of it, the High Council would have kept this outrage carefully buried, as presumably they have for several centuries.
I must agree. You have an endearing habit of blundering into these things, Doctor, and the High Council took full advantage of your blunder.
Explain that.
They made a deal with the Valeyard, or as I've always known him, the Doctor, to adjust the evidence. In return for which, he was promised the remainder of the Doctor's regeneration.
This is clear. Just a minute! Did you call him the Doctor?
There is some evil in all of us, Doctor, even you. The Valeyard is an amalgamation of the darker sides of your nature, somewhere between your 12th and final incarnation. And I may say you do not improve with age.
How do you feel your career has progressed over the years, and where would you like to go with it in the future?
Because when you start out doing any job, you don't think of a career. You just either get offered jobs or you don't. So whenever anyone mentions a career, it makes me kind of laugh, because it implies you had some vision that you had control of, and you don't. Whether you get offered a job or not is dependent entirely, as an actor, on other people. So all I can do is look back and say, I've had a career. It probably wasn't the career that I longed for and anticipated. I had commercial success. Because being in TV series like The Brothers and like Doctor Who brings you, fame of a kind and commercial success. But I envisaged myself, because of where I spent most of my early 20s, which was watching everything at the Royal Shakespeare Company, my dream would have been to have done 2 or 3 years at Stratford, playing those wonderful parts. That never happened. That wasn't to be, and it was nothing I could have... Well, I could have done something about it, because I was offered a part then, but I couldn't afford to do it, sadly, because the great parts don't bring with them great money. And when you're paying off a mortgage and you need money every month, and the money you would earn doing the job you love doesn't bring you enough to pay the mortgage, you can't accept the job. So I didn't, on that occasion, go to Stratford, and I worked in television instead, which I could afford to do. But that's life. Career in the future? Well, I guess when you're 75, a future career is an illusion. I mean, there may well be stuff in my future. I've been doing a lot of, I suppose you call it reality television lately. Things like, I did The Jungle 5 years ago, as myself, obviously, not an acting role, but it's what I needed to do to live. And the 5-go caravanning I did last year, myself and 4 other actors, schlepping around the Lake District and Cornwall in a caravan, and entertaining the troops, things like that. But most people at my age in other jobs are retired. So I like to think of my retirement as having been scattered throughout my career, because no job dovetails exactly with another. And in the world most people live in, they go into 1, 2, 3 jobs in their lives, and there are no gaps in between. Well, I've had all those gaps of 2 or 3 months here and a couple of months there. So my career will go on until I topple over or can't do it anymore, which I quite like.
Finally, do you have any advice for either myself or anyone that wants to go into acting or directing or anything to do with the film industry?
My principal advice is be lucky, which you can have no control over, except the more often you put yourself into situations where you could be lucky, the more chance you've got. But I know that my 2 big breaks came through luck. The first one was the brothers, and the producer happened to know that I'd trained as a lawyer. We were friends. He wanted someone to come in and do a couple of very complicated legal scenes. So he got me to do it. They liked the character and they wrote it up. So I was there for 3 years. And the other was Doctor Who, which I got because I played a small part in an episode with Peter Davison and got on well with the producer.
I remember reading that.
So he thought of me. I didn't have to screen test or anything. I was just offered the part. That is luck. You make your own luck. Certainly do everything you can not to annoy people. And making people laugh is always a good idea. And be friendly. And the thing I liked best about playing Doctor Who was that I dictated the working atmosphere. Because the star of a show is the one who, rules the roost, as it were. So I wanted to be sure that everyone had a good time. Because I think people do their best work when they're relaxed and happy. So that was the best bit of that. And my advice, apart from that, is to do everything you can. If you're free and you're offered a job that you think's beneath you, do it anyway. You get some money for it. Even if you don't get money for it when you're young.
Do what you love.
Do what you love. Do what you love and do it to the best of your ability. And don't allow doubt, because there isn't an actor I know who isn't plagued by self-doubt, from the most famous to the least famous. Each one will think, I'll never work again, that was awful. But you're not awful. Because everybody else isn't looking at you anyway. They're thinking about how awful they are. So just be confident, and confidence is a thing that is worth quadruple talent. Whatever talent you've got, if you're confident with it, your likelihood of working is immeasurably enhanced. So kill doubt, work hard, grab every opportunity and be lucky.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you very much, Colin. Thank you, I really appreciate it.
Pleasure.